Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Let's do some local sports round. It should be a little chilly one for the guys out there tonight on the field.
Yeah, if you're going to be out there, dress accordingly. I will be.
Yep. Let's kind of go through some of the brackets here. First of all, Chi High fall into Middleton, and a close one, though. It was 19-14 loss to Chi High, but nonetheless, still a very tight game. Yeah,
they're all the way, and that's kind of, was kind of expected. I mean, it's a 4-5 matchup. Those tend to be that way. Gamer Chippa jumped out to the early lead, but Middleton, credit to them, their defense stiffened in the second half, and they were able to get the go-ahead score in the fourth quarter and hold off Chippewa. And now they advance to face Wanakee in a matchup down by Madison, down in Ritchie's area.
Yep. And then, because you called it, and I gave you props right away, but you said on Friday, watch out for DC Everest with their offense. And, their offense came to play against Hudson. And Hudson, another early exit for the second year.
Right, with the Evergreens, I mean, that's just a powerhouse offense. Saw it when they played Chippewa Falls. Like, they can throw, they can run. Blake Bankston is a really good running back. Like, that's a team that, now, it's a team that's going to have to score a bunch of points to win, but they showed they can do it against a really good team in Hudson. And they're making the trip down south to face Madison Memorial. That's another one where Memorial's a 3 seed. They knocked off Stevens Point, who was battling Everest for the Wisconsin Valley Conference title, but that would not surprise me to see Everest maybe come away with another win there.
Division 2, we still got some of our local teams there. We got New Richmond moving on as a 1 seed. They're taking on Holman. And then Rice Lake, the 2 seed, taking on 3 seed Monona Grove.
Right. You got the two. I mean, those two were the best 2 teams in the, along with Hudson, I guess, in the regular season for the Big Rivers. But New Richmond and Rice Lake, I mean, they've been kind of in the spotlight since the beginning. They're both excellent teams. I mean, I kind of, at the start of the playoffs, picked that to be kind of the level 3 rematch from what was an excellent game in the regular season. And, selfishly, I guess I kind of like to see it again because it was a really good matchup the first time.
Yep.
But New Richmond and Rice Lake, they got to take care of their business tonight at home. But that could be what we're looking at next week.
Yeah. D3, my Medford moves on. They'll be taking on Fox Valley Lutheran tonight. Got La Crosse Logan taking on Onalaska. That won't be a long trip for either of those 2 teams over there, too. So, Division 4, we've got Ellsworth that pulled off the upset win over Mosinee as a 6 seed. They'll be taking on number 2 seeded Baldwin Woodville in that matchup.
Right. And then Prescott taking on Freedom. They're making the long trip. That's actually a Saturday game.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. There aren't very many.
They're probably
Saturday
happy so they don't
games.
have to play cold tonight.
Well, no, yeah, but that's a long drive.
It is.
And then the other thing to factor in when we get into volleyball is Prescott volleyball is still playing too.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be a very busy day for the people of Prescott.
Yep, exactly. Division 5, St. Croix Falls moves on as the 1 seed. They'll take on Wittenberg Bermanwood. And then we've got Stanley Boyd. They also move on where they will be taking on Northwestern in a 3-2 matchup.
It's actually the 3rd year in a row that Stanley Boyd and Northwestern have met in the playoffs.
Really? Nice.
Yep. Northwestern's won the last 2.
Okay.
One of them, I think, was like a 1-8 matchup. I mean, this is, I would say maybe the most even of the 3. But I mean, we'll see obviously tonight when that game gets underway. But Northwestern up in Maple, they actually had snow yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm kind of curious to see what that field looks like by now. I mean, it's going to warm up a little bit, so you'd think a lot of it would melt, but you never know. But that's a big matchup there. The 2-3. Stanley Boyd coming off a game, a win over Spooner, game I was at. So last week, they looked impressive. Defense was able to kind of hold its own against a solid Spooner run game, and the offense explosive as it usually is. So that's a game that I will not be at, but I'm very curious to see how that develops.
All right. Moving on to Division 6. We were talking with Dr. Crow a little bit about it, but Regis survives in the first round against Fall Creek. Fall Creek giving them all they could right there.
Heck of an effort for the Crickets.
It was. And now Regis, they will be taking on Luther, who I was looking it up a little bit earlier this morning, too. Their last 2 games, they've been putting up some points.
Right.
In that game. So that should be a good matchup as well.
Right. And the other half of that bracket, you got Grantsburg hosting Mondovi. So still 3 Clover Belt teams left.
Right. Bottom half there, you got Abbotsford. Got to give a shout out to our friends on 29.
Yes.
So East 29.
They'll be making the trip to Coleman. Coleman is they're a heavyweight in Division 6. I mean, they're a team that many people are looking at, but it's been a really good year for Abbotsford. They're really battle tested. So they're going to see a really good team tonight, but they've seen a lot of good teams so far.
That's right. Division 7, Spring Valley moves on as the 1 seed. They're going to be taking on Glenwood City tonight. And then you got Pepin-Alma taking on number 2 seeded Boyceville.
Yeah, it's an interesting bracket with Spring Valley and Glenwood City. That's a Dun St. Croix rematch from the regular season. Spring Valley won the Dun St. Croix by a game over Boyceville. You see, they got Pepin-Alma, who shut out Oliva Strub in the first round. So, it's possible that a little bit like Division 2, maybe there could be another regular season rematch. Maybe Boyceville, Spring Valley, but obviously Glenwood City and Pepin-Alma have an awful lot to say about that. So
right, and then to the game that you're going to be at tonight, 8-man football, McDonald Central versus Owen Withee.
Right, a rematch from it should be a rematch of a game early in the regular season. Owen Withee won pretty handedly, but a McDonald team that used that loss in the way that talking to some of the players this week, kind of as a chance to reset a little bit. They said it was kind of you don't like to lose, but you can learn from losses, and it seemed like they definitely did. I mean, since then they've been a much improved team, picking up the big win over Gilman the week after, and this past week a sizable win over Wausau Newman. So obviously this will be a chance to see if they're improved, how much they are, because Owen Withee is, they're as good as advertised. They're a strong, physical, fundamentally sound team. Yeah,
and on the other side too, Clayton did pick up a win in their 3-2 matchup against Siren, so they're going up against number 1 seeded Northwood Solon Springs.
Right, and remember for 8-man or 8-player, this is actually you're around closer to state because you only have 16 teams in that bracket. So this is actually the quarterfinals. So all the teams that win tonight, they will play next week for a chance to go to state, which is in Wisconsin Rapids on the 16th.
Yep, over there too. So. You mentioned it a little bit, but this is tomorrow. We're going to find out who's going to state for volleyball as well.
Yeah.
And we still got some teams in our immediate area that are still
very
alive.
Very busy. Starting last night in Division 1, River Falls picking up the 4-set win over Eau Claire Memorial. That game was over in Menominee. River Falls and Hudson will be the Division 1 sectional final game. That's currently for Marshfield. We'll see if that maybe moves a little.
I was going to say.
Sometimes, usually like the day, maybe like today sometime we might see someone announce that, hey, this game's been moved to maybe it's Menominee, maybe it's somewhere in Eau Claire. I know some of the Eau Claire schools are already hosting, but and you would think they might. You're not going to find somewhere in the middle there because obviously there's no towns in the middle there, but
exactly
you should be able to find something. You have to find a willing host, which can sometimes be sometimes teams just at this point don't want to do that anymore. So Division 2 Altoona picking up the come from behind 5-set win over St. Croix Falls. St. Croix Falls won the Division 3 state championship last year. Moved up with the WIA Success Factor plan, made a run to sectionals there as a 4 seed. That was actually, that section's kind of got some upsets in the mix there. Altoona then tomorrow will take on Shawano, who knocked off the 2 seed Mosney. That game will be in Merrill.
Nice.
Tomorrow, so
over at the Blue Jays facility.
Yes. Yeah. Division 3, last night I was in Barron for Barron and McDonald. Barron picked up the straight set win, looked very impressive in the process. And they will take on who I haven't gone through and looked, but I feel pretty confident saying this, who might be the highest seeded team left, which is Prescott, which I mentioned before. Prescott's 10 seed. Prescott has not played a home game in the playoffs, but what they've done is they've went on the road and they beat Elk Mound, they beat Marathon, they beat Fall Creek, and they beat Stratford. Stratford was a 1 seed and a state-ranked team, and throughout all those wins, they've only lost 1 set.
Wow.
So, that's a Prescott team that is very seasoned, playing in the middle border. Same conference as Altoona. So that's an interesting matchup because Barron's very, very good. They haven't dropped a match since the end of August. And you got a Prescott team that, maybe was a little underseeded, but at the same time is, as hot as anybody. Right. So that's going to be an interesting one there.
Absolutely.
And then Division 4, Eau Claire Regis picked up the victory last night over Webster in 4 sets. So now they will tomorrow play Cochrane Fountain City.
Okay.
In a matchup that will be at Eau Claire North.
All right.
And then in Division 5, we've got Eau Claire Emmanuel, who has been just absolutely dominant this year, and that's continuing in the postseason. They haven't dropped a set in the postseason yet. They knocked off Prairie Farm last night. They will play in Bruce tomorrow night against Prentice.
Nice. Good old going up north a little bit for that one.
Go right up Highway 27 a little bit.
Yep, exactly. And then soccer, we're going to find out, too, who's going to state.
Soccer.
I know we had... it kind of fit the bill, right? Hudson winning in a shootout against Memorial.
It's always close to those teams meet. We talked about it a little bit last week, but prevailing in a shootout, Memorial and Hudson, always the two, preeminent teams in the big rivers.
Yep.
And they definitely had another classic yesterday with Hudson securing the victory in penalty kicks.
Yep.
Or in shootouts. Sorry.
Yep.
But, so Hudson advances take on Green Bay Preble.
Yep. River Falls also moves on. They take on DeForest and Rice Lake. They will be taking on Shawano.
Obviously a good accounting so far for the big rivers.
Yep, definitely. And then tomorrow, you're going to be, speaking of Rapids a little bit earlier, you're going to be in Rapids.
I am, for state cross country.
Over at the Ridges Golf Course. I'll first start it off. Bloomer. Is that obviously one thing to pay attention to see how well team-wise they do?
Right. And for me, that'll be a big thing I'll be keeping an eye on. Bloomer girls this year have actually finished first in every single meet they've competed in Wisconsin. The one that they didn't was the Roy Griak, which is a gigantic cross-country meet hosted by University of Minnesota.
Okay.
Brings together some of the best teams from around the Midwest.
Wow.
But yeah, they've been on a roll. They're healthy now. Recently, sophomore Sophie Strand returned to the lineup. She was injured at the start of the year, but they're running well. They're going to be a contender after finishing runner-up last year to maybe take home the team championship. But they're going to have some good teams like Little Chute, Lancaster, who won the Division III Girls Championship last year, will be in the mix. So, and that'll be the second race of the day. They should be running around 12:40ish tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something I'll be keeping an eye on. For Bloomer on the boys end of things, Seth Rogies he's going to be down there running individually. He was there last year, finished 40th. He's someone that's put up some good times. He could be a threat to finish near the front. He won a sectional championship last week in Rice Lake.
Okay.
So, Division I, shout out to Menominee. Menominee girls won the sectional championship. Menominee boys are runner-up, so both those teams will be running
nice.
down in Wisconsin Rapids. In Division I for boys, there's some familiar names that'll be in action tomorrow, and that'll be in the last race of the day. The way the schedule works is the girls go first, so it goes 3-2-1, and then the boys go 3-2-1. Will Panganas from Eau Claire Memorial, who won the sectional title, he'll be definitely someone to keep an eye on, along with Manny Putz from Onalaska, who's really been kind of a preeminent standout with cross country here the last few years. He won state before. He's a senior this year, looking to, I'm sure, that'll be some, sharp competition for everybody there. So, yeah, cross country. I mean, it's interesting going there because I've been there a few times, but I've never golfed there. So I only know the course as a cross country course.
Yep.
Whereas like last week when I'm at Whispering Pines, I'm like, in Canada, I'm like, well, I'm familiar with this as a golf course, but it's just,
yep.
You look at things differently.
You do.
But that's, looks like the weather's going to be pretty solid.
Yep.
So that's good. I mean, a few years ago, they actually moved back the starting time because they just often had frost delays.
Right.
So they just said, let's just move it back to noon. So that way we just don't have to worry about that, which I think was probably a good decision. Just peace of mind for everybody.
Oh, yeah. I remember one year when I was working at the Y there, we had our turkey trot out on that course, and we used the same kind of cross country because they still had the lines out there.
Right.
So, yeah. Todd does a good job over there with the course, Mr. Gosko. So, well, that'll be a lot of fun over there, too. Tradition unlike any other for you to go down there. So,
yeah.
Really quick, to wrap it up, I know we still got some college football in the WAC, and for both Stout and the Blue Golds, these are going to be some interesting finishes to the season. So 3 more games left in the regular season. I was going to say Wisconsin. They're all Wisconsin. Eau Claire is taking on Stout tomorrow. That's going to be at Carson Park.
Wait.
Or not, Oshkosh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because I was going to say Stout. But hey. Calm down now. Eau Claire's taking on Oshkosh, who's one of the better teams. I mean, they're top 10, depending on which ranking you look at over there. So that's going to be at Carson Park, 1 p.m. kickoff. And then Stout is going to be taking on La Crosse in Menominee. So 2 local games there, and there's going to be some tough matches. But this is the remaining schedule. Stout's got La Crosse, Oshkosh, and Platteville. And Eau Claire's got Oshkosh, Platteville, and Whitewater. So very tough finishes.
There's no real layups in the WIAC, but even still, you definitely earn the win to get.
Yep. And at least for Stout and Eau Claire, 2 of those 3 are all at home as they finish up their season. So that's the one benefit over there, too.
Yeah.
So,